Shall we take the national anthem, please? 1, 2, 3.
Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's sorrow and faith. The heroes past shall never be served with heart and mind in freedom, peace and unity.
Shall we be seated, please? President, honorable ministers and members of the Central Executive, the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Chief of Staff to the President, Chiefs of the Anti-Graft Agencies, officials, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The Federal Executive new Naira notes will come into the of the year. That's the literary part of it is,
Your Excellency,
the Governor of the Central Bank.
Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal
of relevant agencies and gentlemen. Unveiling of the new
Naira notes. After first making his. In a short while, His Excellency Mr. The Chairman of the IC, then below the platform. So, Your Excellency, Mr. President.
The Secretary.
This morning marks a major milestone in our efforts to solve the numerous challenges facing the management of our legal tender currency with the unveiling of the 3 redesigned denominations of 1,000 Naira, 500 Naira, and 200 Naira banknotes. I'd like to talk about the need for the currency design, its benefits, the features of the new banknotes, and the unwavering support of Mr. President to the Central Bank of Nigeria. As you are all aware, currency management is a key function of the Central Bank of Nigeria, as enshrined in Section 2, subsection B of the CBN Act 2007. Indeed, the integrity of a local currency tender, the efficiency of its supply, as well as its efficacy in the conduct of monetary policy are some of the hallmarks of a great central bank. In recent times, however, currency management in Nigeria has faced several challenges that have continued to grow in scale and sophistication, with unintended consequences for the integrity of both the Central Bank of Nigeria and the country. Some of these challenges primarily include, first, a significant hoarding of banknotes by members of the public, with statistics showing that 2.72 trillion naira out of 3.26 trillion naira currency in circulation as of June 2022 was outside the vaults of our commercial banks across the country and supposedly held by members of the public. These statistics shows that 84.71% of our currency in circulation are outside the vaults of commercial banks, with only 15.29% at the central bank and the commercial bank's vaults. Second, is the worsening shortage of clean and fit bank notes with attendant negative perception of the CBN and increased risk to financial stability. Third, there is increasing ease by criminals and risk of counterfeiting evidenced by several security reports received by the security agencies, the CBN, and the government. The benefits of the currency redesign to Nigerian economy are enormous, given that A, This policy will help to control inflation, as the exercise will bring the hoarded currency back into the banking system, thereby making monetary policy more effective. B, it will also help with better design and implementation of monetary policy, as we would have much more accurate data on money supply and our monetary aggregates. Third, we believe that this exercise will help in increasing financial inclusion, moving towards a more cashless economy, and ensuring greater formalization of the Nigerian economy. D, the currency redesign would assist in the fight against corruption, as the exercise would rein in the higher denomination used for corruption, and the movement of such funds from the banking system could be tracked easily by the relevant security agencies. Your Excellency, sir, although global best practice is for central banks to redesign, produce, and circulate new local currency within every 5 to 8 years, our Naira has not been redesigned in the last 19 years. On the basis of these trends, problems, facts, and benefits of currency redesign, and in line with Section 2B, Section 18, and Section 19, subsections A and B of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2007, the management of the CBN sought and indeed obtained the approval of the President Muhammadu Buhari to redesign, produce, and circulate new series of banknotes at 200 Naira, 500 Naira, at 1,000 Naira levels. After obtaining Mr. President's approval, the CBN directed the Nigerian Security and Minting Company, our own print, to begin printing the new banknotes. The redesigned 200 Naira, 500 Naira, and 1,000 Naira banknotes will have the features of enhanced security, greater durability, attractiveness, and a rich heritage. Your Excellency, sir, the ability of the Central Bank of Nigeria to initiate sound policies that positively impact Nigerians and support economic growth, such as the currency design policy, is due to the independence of the Central Bank of Nigeria. I'd like to also emphasize that the independence of the Central Bank of Nigeria, though codified in our law, would not have been possible without the full and total support of President Muhammadu Buhari, who has made this policy initiative possible and successful. Indeed, Mr. President, only, and I repeat, only a president of your esteemed and incorruptible stature could have done what we are witnessing today. We say this because instead of redesigning in 5 to 8 years, we delayed for almost 19 years. And for this, we are exceedingly grateful to Mr. President. Most importantly, Mr. President, in order to test the capacity of the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting Company, you insisted that the first set of these currencies must be printed in Nigeria. Before now, due to whether security or leakage problems, what we will find is that the first set of currencies will be printed abroad. But Mr. President, you insisted that we must trust our mint and that we need to be able to give them the chance to defend themselves about leakage and security, and they have proved us correct. We thank Mr. President for your unflinching confidence in the Nigerian Mint. We also thank the staff and the management of the Nigerian Security and Minting Company for living up to the expectation by working tirelessly to actualize Mr. President's directive to print these currencies locally. I'd like to thank my colleagues at the Central Bank of Nigeria for their painstaking work on this project and other programs. My gratitude also goes to Managing Director of Nigerian Security Printing Minting Company, Mr. Ahmed Halilu and his team. And I also like to appreciate the task force on the new Naira banknotes, including our deputy governors, the CEO of Access Bank, Guarantee Trust Bank, Unity Bank, First Bank, and Fidelity Bank. I also thank all the bank CEOs in the Bankers Committee, the representatives of FinTech Association, the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, the chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, the National Security Advisor, the Director of Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, the Inspector General of Police and his team, the representatives from the President's Office, and all other stakeholders that have contributed in no small measure in making this day possible this morning. I thank you all for your attention, sir.
The Chief of Staff, in great satisfaction that I welcome you to today's event, which is to officially launch the new Naira banknotes. Your Excellencies, international best practice requires central banks and national authorities to issue new or redesigned currency notes every 5 to 8 years. Yet, it is now almost 20 years since the last major redesign of our local currency. This implies that the Naira is long overdue to wear a new look. A cycle of banknote redesign is generally aimed at achieving specific objectives, including, but not limited to, improving security of banknotes, mitigating counterfeiting, preserving the collective national heritage, controlling currency in circulation, and reducing the overall cost of currency management. As is known, our local laws, specifically the Central Bank of Nigeria Act of 2007, grants the Central Bank of Nigeria the power to issue and redesign the Naira. In line with this power, the Central Bank Governor approached me earlier in this year to seek my permission to embark on a currency redesign project. I considered all the facts and reasons presented before me by the Central Bank. There was an urgent need to take control of currency in circulation and to address the hoarding of Naira banknotes outside the banking system, the shortage of clean and fit banknotes in circulation, and the increase in counterfeiting of high-denomination Naira banknotes. It is on this basis that I gave my approval for the redesign of the 200 Naira, 500 Naira, and 1,000 Naira banknotes. While this may not be apparent to many Nigerians, only 4 out of the 54 African countries print their currencies in their countries, and Nigeria is one. Hence, a majority of African countries print their currencies abroad and import them the way we import other goods. That is why it is with immense pride that I announced to you that these redesigned currencies are locally produced right here in Nigeria by our Security Printing and Minting PLC. The new Naira banknotes have been fortified with security features that made it difficult to counterfeit. These new banknotes will help the central bank design and implement better monetary policy objectives. They will also enrich our collective memory of Nigeria's heritage. Let me thank the Governor of the Central Bank and his deputies for this initiative. I also thank the Managing Director, Executive Directors, and staff of the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting for working tirelessly with the Central Bank to make the currency redesign a reality and for printing the new Naira note within a comparatively short time. I am delighted now to officially launch the 200 Naira, 500 Naira, and 1,000 Naira banknotes. I thank you all for your attention, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I can give you one of each. The one you're holding down a little, sir, is reflecting the light.
Mr. President, there is a copy. 1,000 Naira. 500 Naira.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Federal Executive Council. Yeah. To formally inform Council, Mustafa, the former member.
Like you heard me when I read my speech at the council chambers, the practice worldwide is that currencies should be redesigned or replaced or reissued every 5 to 8 years. Excuse me. But for Nigeria, we have not had the opportunity of redesigning and reissuing currency in the last almost 19 years. The Central Bank of Nigeria, by law, has a mandate to reissue and redesign currency for the country and for the Nigerian people every 5 to 8 years. And I want to hope that after this, after the event of today, the Central Bank of Nigeria can just take it as part of its programs to see to it that within 5 to 8 years, the currencies are redesigned and reissued. It is because mainly the central bank should be able to have control, full control of the size of currency in circulation. That is the sole mandate of the Central Bank of Nigeria, because it has implications for monetary policy management in the country. There is no need for anybody to think that this program is targeted at anyone. Like you heard the president speak in the chambers, he said that the discussion to redesign and reissue currency started early in the year. We took painstaking efforts in looking at the pros and cons and the reasons when it should be and why it should be done. And the president, in his wisdom, decided that yes, it must be done. In the past, I have to confess that attempts by the Central Bank of Nigeria to redesign and reissue currencies have been resisted And that is the reason I also read in my speech that it's only a president of the esteem and stature of President Muhammadu Buhari that could have done this. And I want to see this opportunity to appeal to members of the public that there is no need for any insinuations giving the impression that this is targeted at any individual. There is no attempt at that. We're doing our work, and we would continue to do our work. Thank you. Yeah, our policy of redesign and reissue of currency is not targeted at anyone. But of course, we have the laws, and we will indeed be more intense in ensuring that the provisions of the law and our CBN regulations about the size and volume of currencies that people can hold or can carry or can withdraw, that we would insist that this is done going forward. In other countries, you will find, say in the US, you want to withdraw $10,000 from the counter, you will be interrogated. You will fill numerous forms. They will even track the use of that $10,000 cash you are withdrawing. Or you want to withdraw 10,000 pounds from the counter, they will refuse. And if you insist, you will fill forms. I think the problem we've had in the past is the insistence that, oh, this is a cash economy. There is no economy that is imbued with the thinking that it has to be cash economy. The world has moved away from cash, predominantly cash, to cashless economy. And I think Nigeria and the Central Bank of Nigeria is prepared at this time to move towards a cashless economy. And that is the reason why, following the redesign and issuance of this note, we would go forward to insisting that cashless will be nationwide. We will restrict the volume of cash that people will withdraw over the counter. If you need to draw large volumes of cash, you will fill uncountable forms. We will take your data, whether it's your BVN, your NIN, so that security agencies like EFCC or enforcement agencies like EFCC and ICPC can follow you and be sure that you are taking that money for good purpose. We have to work as a country. Nigeria is the biggest country, both in population and economy in Africa. And we have to ensure that we do things the right way that also positions us as a leader in Africa and one of the leading countries in the world. We must do things right, and I think it will start from today. Thank you. Well, it is in their mind when they say the time is short. We will not go with them on that destination. What we are saying is this. We announced this program October 26th, 2022. And we have said that from today, this currency that is issued will be legal tender in Nigeria or all over the world, wherever it is going to be accepted. So between October 26th and January 31, 2023, we believe that is over 100 days. Like the president has said, if you have cash, it should not take you more than 100 days to be able to deposit it in your bank and take whatever little quantity you need for your use. The banks, we have made adequate arrangements. The banks have been told that they will keep their currency processing centers open from Mondays to Saturdays, even to late hours every day. We have also offered that the Central Bank of Nigeria process currency centers across the 36 states of the Federation, including Abuja, 37, will be available to process cash from Mondays to Saturdays. It might interest us to know that on a daily basis, the Deputy Governor of Operations calls the banks, calls the CBN branches to find out if there are queues or if there are some form of congestion about people depositing cash. There is none. We have also made available through our agency banking arrangement people who in villages can use their POS and their stores to receive and pay cash. In 2018, we had 86,000 touch points for agency banking. As at October, just last month, the numbers of those who have financial system or banking system touch points, our agency banking arrangement has 1.4 million points. That means that we are making available almost, so there is no local government where you don't have our agent bankers that can do this on our behalf. So it's as good as saying we have over 1 million points or branches of banks all over the country where you can deposit and take your cash to. There is no reason for anybody to think that he cannot access cash or be able to pay his cash into a bank. So we are not going to go with those people on their journey to say that time is short. In our wisdom, in the wisdom of the president, time is not short. We have more than ample time to do so. I'll tell you this. These currencies, these notes, they cannot be counterfeited because of the security features in them. Nobody can counterfeit them. What you could only find will be people making photocopies of these notes. If you follow due process to check the authenticity of a currency, take them through the UV lights, you will find that these currencies can never be counterfeited. The best you will find is photocopies of these currencies. And that's why we still call them counterfeit. But what I'm trying to say in essence is this. To reduce that incidence of counterfeiting or photocopying, that is why we're saying the CBN must now, without waiting, every 5 to 8 years, must redesign and reissue these notes. So that those who think they can take advantage of the system by counterfeiting will know that the game is over with them. Thank you. Like I told you, usually those kind of volumes are not what we would like to disclose. Like we told you, 3.23 trillion naira is in circulation. Out of the 3.23 trillion naira in circulation, 2.72 trillion is outside the bank vaults. And we will insist that those 2.72 trillion naira should return back to the bank and central bank's vault by 31st January 2023. If you choose to hold it after January 31st, 2023, it becomes useless in your hands. That's all. Thank you.